It's 2:47 in the morning. You're awake. Again. Not because of noise, not because of your phone, but because your mind won't stop running numbers. What if something goes wrong tomorrow? What if my car breaks down? What if I lose my job? What if one unexpected expense ruins everything? You try to ignore it, but that quiet anxiety just sits there in your chest. Now here's a strange question. What if I told you there's a point, a specific amount of money, where most of those thoughts start to disappear? Not completely, but enough that your life starts to feel different. Not richer, just lighter. For a lot of people, that point is around $12,000. And no, it's not because $12,000 makes you wealthy. It's because it changes how your brain experiences money. Let's talk about what life feels like before that point. When your savings are low or non-existent, money isn't just money, it's pressure. Every decision carries weight. You go to the grocery store and suddenly everything becomes a calculation. You hesitate before adding something extra to your cart. You mentally track every dollar like it's oxygen. And it doesn't stop there. Your friends invite you out, and instead of thinking, "Do I want to go?" you think, "Can I afford to go without messing up my week?" A simple dinner turns into a financial decision. And you start saying no, not because you don't want to go, but because you can't risk it. This is what most people don't realize. When you don't have savings, your brain is constantly in defense mode. You're not thinking about growing your life. You're thinking about protecting it. And that changes everything. You stay in jobs longer than you should. You avoid taking risks. You delay decisions that could actually improve your situation, because deep down, you know one mistake could cost you everything. Now, here's where things start to shift. Slowly, almost invisibly, you begin saving. At first, it feels small. A few $100s doesn't feel life-changing. Even $1,000 feels helpful, but fragile. It's like having a thin layer of protection, but still feeling exposed. Then you keep going. $3,000, $5,000, $7,000. And somewhere along the way, without a big announcement, you cross a line, around $12,000. And something unexpected happens. Your problems don't disappear, but your reaction to them does. Let me explain this in a simple way. Imagine your car suddenly won't start one morning. Before savings, that moment feels heavy. Your heart sinks instantly, because your brain isn't thinking about fixing the car. It's thinking, how am I going to pay for this? Do I need to borrow money? Is this going to ruin my entire month? That one problem doesn't stay one problem, it spreads. It affects your mood, your focus, your sleep. Now, imagine the same situation, but this time you have $12,000 saved. Same problem, same car, same morning. But your reaction? Completely different. You're still annoyed, of course, but you're not panicking, because in the back of your mind there's a quiet thought. I've got this. That's it. That's the shift. From panic to control. And that one shift starts to ripple through every part of your life. Here's something fascinating about how the human brain works. When you feel financially unsafe, your brain treats everything like a threat. Even small things feel big. But when you have a financial cushion, your brain relaxes. Literally, your stress levels drop. You think more clearly. You make better decisions. It's not just about money anymore. It's about how you experience life. Now, let's talk about something most people never connect to money: confidence. When you don't have savings, you often operate from a place of quiet fear. You might not notice it directly, but it shows up in your decisions. You hesitate to ask for a raise. You avoid negotiating your salary. You accept situations you're not happy with because you can't afford to lose stability. But once you have that buffer, that fear starts to fade, and confidence takes its place. Think about a job interview.
Without savings, you walk in needing that job. Every answer feels important because it is. You can't afford to mess it up. But with $12,000 saved, you walk in differently. You're not desperate. You're choosing. And that changes how you speak, how you think, how you present yourself. And strangely, that often leads to better outcomes. Let's look at this from another angle. Imagine walking on a narrow bridge. Below you, nothing. No safety net. Every step feels risky. Now imagine that same bridge, but with a strong net underneath. Did the bridge change? No. But your mindset did. You move differently. You breathe differently. You take steps with confidence. That's exactly what $12,000 becomes. Your safety net. Now here's something most people overlook. The biggest benefit of saving money isn't spending it. It's knowing it's there. Because that knowledge removes constant background stress. You stop worrying about what-if scenarios all day. And when that mental noise disappears, something powerful happens. You gain mental space. And mental space is where growth begins. When you're not constantly thinking about survival, you start thinking about improvement. You notice opportunities. You make better long-term decisions. You stop reacting and start planning. Let me give you a simple example. Let's say you come across an online course that could help you earn more. It costs $300. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, that decision feels heavy. Even if it's a good investment, even if it could change your future, you hesitate. Because spending that money feels dangerous. But with $12,000 saved, that same $300 feels different. It's no longer a threat. It's an opportunity. And that's how money quietly transforms your life. It doesn't just protect you. It expands your options. And options are everything. Without savings, your choices are limited. You take what you can get. You avoid what you can't afford. But with savings, you start choosing based on what's best for you, not just what's possible. There's also something subtle that happens to your daily life. When you don't have savings, you make hundreds of tiny financial decisions every day. Should I buy this? Can I afford that? Should I wait? Each decision takes energy. And by the end of the day, you feel drained, even if you didn't do much. But once you have that financial cushion, most of those decisions disappear. You're not constantly calculating anymore. You're just living. And that freedom, even in small moments, feels powerful. Now, let's be real for a second. $12,000 doesn't make you rich. You're not suddenly living a luxury lifestyle. You're still going to think before making purchases. But what it gives you is something far more valuable than luxury. It gives you breathing room. And breathing room changes everything. Because when you're not gasping for financial stability, you can finally think clearly. You can plan ahead. You can improve your situation. You can take steps that actually move you forward. Here's another important idea. Two people can earn the same amount of money, but live completely different lives. One has no savings. The other has $12,000 saved. From the outside, they look the same. But internally, they're worlds apart. One is reacting to life. The other is controlling it. One is stressed about every unexpected expense. The other handles it calmly. One avoids risk. The other can take calculated chances. And over time, that difference compounds into completely different futures. Now, you might be thinking, how am I supposed to reach $12,000? And that's a fair question. Because from zero, it feels far away. But here's the truth most people don't talk about. The hardest part isn't reaching $12,000. It's becoming the kind of person who can. Saving your first $500 feels difficult. Your first $1,000 feels even harder. Because you're finding habits. You're changing behavior. You're learning discipline. But once those habits start forming, everything gets easier. You begin to notice things you didn't before. Subscriptions you don't use. Small expenses that add up. Opportunities to save without sacrificing your lifestyle. And slowly, saving stops feeling like effort and starts feeling normal. That's when things really change. Because now, you're not just saving money. You're building an identity. An identity of someone who is in control of their finances. And once that identity is built, reaching $12,000 becomes inevitable. Let's zoom out for a moment. Most people think financial success is about earning more. And yes, income matters. But it's not the full story. Because there are people who earn a lot and still feel stuck. And there are people who earn less, but feel completely stable. The difference? Behavior, habits, mindset, and saving your first $12,000 forces you to develop all three. So what should you take away from all of this? Not that $12,000 is some magical number, but that there's a point where your life stops being controlled by money and starts being supported by it. If you're starting from zero, don't focus on the full number. Focus on the next step. $50, $100, $200. Because every dollar you save is doing something you can't see immediately. It's reducing stress. It's building discipline. It's changing how you think. And one day, you'll look at your account and realize you've crossed that line. Not because of luck, not because of a sudden breakthrough, but because you stayed consistent. And in that moment, even if your life looks the same from the outside, you'll feel the difference. You'll think differently. You'll act differently. You'll live differently. Because at the end of the day, this isn't really about $12,000. It's about what that number represents. Security, control, freedom. And once you experience that, you'll never want to go back.